Hello and welcome back to Overbooked. I'm Amanda and today we're going to be doing a book review on the book An American Marriage by Tayari Jones. So I've had An American Marriage by Tayari Jones on my TBR for a while now. I've been wanting to read it really badly and I've heard great things about it, and I'm actually using it this year as one of the prompts for the Reading Women Challenge. It's prompt number 5, and it's read a book that's a Stella or Women's Prize winner. So this was the Stella, I think it was the Stella Award. It's the Stella one. This won the Stella Literature Prize last year. So I am using this for that prompt. This book was also included in the anti-racist literature list that was put together by one of the bookstagrammers that I have shared before, Absorbed in Pages, and I'll link her again below in that list, and it's really cool. It's a great list of talking about the Black experience, ranging in various amounts of stories and different perspectives. So this was a great list put together, and this was one of the books on there. An American Marriage centers around one couple, and their names are Roy and Celestial, and they're newlyweds. And in the beginning of the book, we're like in year 2 of their marriage, and they're just like an ordinary couple. They're a couple who are still in that newlywed phase. They're still trying to figure out how to ebb and flow with each other. They're still trying to figure out what their dreams are, how to accomplish them, and other like relationship issues that come up. Like one of the big contentions of their relationship in the beginning is the idea of children. Like if they want children, when they're gonna have children. There's kind of like that conversation that's coming up all the time and is always in the back of their minds. They're both just these young people who are on the brink of like their career. They're just starting. Their life is like, let's go full steam ahead, and they're trying to navigate that world together and navigate that world for themselves too. There was a lot of things that I just kind of like felt really like, yes, this is exactly how, conversations happen kind of sometimes. I think that there's this very pretty picture of marriage and how marriage is like beautiful and perfect, and once you're married everything's fine. But I think that there is this concept that like you still, like, marriage is work and you continue to work with your partner every day. I just saw that a lot with Roy and Celestial, not only just in this beginning part but throughout the book. A very important part of this book is that they are a Black couple living in the South in Atlanta, and we see how the color of their skin affects their life when one night when Roy and Celestial are staying in a motel, when they're visiting his parents, he is accused of a crime that he does not commit, and Celestial knows he didn't commit it because he is with her. And he ends up going to jail and is sentenced to 12 years in prison. It's devastating and heartbreaking, and also just very confusing to read, because you're reading this, you're like, okay, they're kind of in a fight, but they're working on it. I can see this going somewhere. I can see them resolving this, and then all of a sudden there's like police officers, and all of a sudden Roy's going away. We're in a court and we're listening to the court make the decision that he's guilty, and he's not, and it's so infuriating, but this happens to Black individuals all the time. So it's just kind of, you're like, holy shit, this is just not okay. After Roy goes away, Celestial has to figure out how she can continue to be a wife to Roy, and Roy and Celestial together kind of have to figure out what their marriage is now. How do they move on? How do they get through this? 12 years is a long time. While Roy is in prison, one of my favorite parts is him and Celestial writing letters back to each other, back and forth. They're just so tender and real and messy, and just, I think they're full of the things that they really want to say but can't say it in person. And a lot of the interesting things in the letters they talk about is like they're still exchanging letters when she's coming to visit, and he will tell her like, you came to visit and I saw this on your face, and like anger or frustration, but you never voiced what was going on, and I never brought it up because I just wanted to have a good conversation while we're visiting, while we can see each other. And then they just pour out all their emotions into these letters, and it was really just tender and emotional to read. There's a lot of like just heart going into those letters. back and forth. And I just, that was one of my favorite parts of the book. So while he's in prison, Celestial is still working on her business, and then she relies on her best friend, Andre, who has been there her entire life. They grew up as neighbors, and he was even the best man in their wedding. And as their relationship grows more complicated and more dependent on each other while Roy's in prison, Roy is unexpectedly released. He's released only after a short 5 years compared to what they thought he was going to do. And so everyone has to deal with this early release and try to, adjust to Roy back in their life and having to answer a lot of questions while he's been away, because life carries on, unfortunately, even when somebody is in prison. So, and you also get to see the different perspectives back and forth between Celestial and Roy, and it's frustrating to read because you're so sympathetic with Roy, because coming back, you have served all this time for something you didn't commit, it's not your fault, and you come back to this world that you don't recognize. I can't imagine how unbelievably frustrating that would be, to just be so out of touch and so, I don't know if out of touch is the word, but like you have so much catching up to do and you feel like so lost. And it's like you're like the new kid at school and everyone knows everyone and everyone knows what's been going on, and you have to try to like put the pieces together of what's happening. And I don't know, I felt really bad for him, and I did not always feel bad for Celestial. She wasn't my favorite, but I understood where she was coming from. I could see myself doing the same thing, but also just, it's hard to like decide what you think should be done and who's doing the right thing, but I don't know. This is also very vague and I don't want to give too much away, but yes, I was not a huge Celestial fan. I was Team Roy for sure. Even though Roy has his problems as well. This book was just really, really, I thought it was a great read. I listened to it on audiobook, but I think that, I honestly feel like this is going to be one of the books that I'm going to try to set aside for next year to actually read the physical copy, because I think you would get so much more out of reading it. At least for me, I would. There was a lot of times when I was like listening to it where I was just like, wow, I really wish I could just read that paragraph, like have it in my hands and then just let it like absorb it. And you can't do that with an audiobook. It's not the same. So I definitely want to reread this, I think, and really, really take in the whole story. There's just so much. I was watching another reviewer, and it was like, these characters are so messy, and they're so unbelievably, that's a really hard word, messy, and they're real though. They're so real. They're not making the quote unquote right decisions. They're not doing what's perfect. Like, they're just real human beings reacting to a real situation, and you can't, like, nothing perfect's gonna come out of it, and it's gonna be messy. And so I just really loved reading this like raw emotion, real situation, and I just really enjoyed that, and it was heartbreaking to read. A lot of the times, I think I said this in my wrap-up video, I would try to picture what that would be like for me. I was Celestial, and my fiance was arrested for something I know he did not commit, and he has to go away for 12 years, and it's the beginning of her life. That's such a long like tunnel to look down, like I can't imagine. And I don't know what I would do. I don't know how I would be. I don't know how I would feel. I don't know what my actions would be. Like, if I, as a young, late 20s, early 30s person, I don't know, can I wait 12 years to, restart my life essentially with this person? I don't know. It's really complicated, hard scenario and situation. And I think that it's a really good window into what that actually looks like. I think as white people, we don't see this side. We just kind of see somebody going to jail, and we don't really know the emotions of part of it. And it's real. Like, this happens, and people are affected every day. And the thing I thought was really interesting was Roy's life is extremely impacted. He, is never going to have the same life again. But there's so many people that affects around him, right? Like, it's not just Celestial. It's Andre. It's her parents, his parents, some friends, the business. It's like there's so many aspects that are affected by this wrongful conviction that it just makes it even more wrong, I guess. The thing that was also really, I think, like, was a stab in the heart when you're reading it is when Roy is walking out of prison after his release, and he's meeting his dad who's picking him up. And as he's walking to the car, he is like having this inner monologue of, all of the mixed emotions about walking out of that prison. He's talking like how Celestial's not there to pick him up, like it's, his dad, and he's been in this place for 5 years, all the people he's met. But one of the things that crosses his mind is that I'm walking free, and I should have been free, but there's still somebody out there who committed this crime that is not being punished for what they did, and they're walking free. It's unsettling to know that someone like that is out there and just getting away with it. And he has like a brief moment of sadness for like the victim of the crime, and he's like, she, I know down to her bones she thinks that it was me who did this, but her real like perpetrator is out there, and he's never gonna pay the consequences. And it's like just kind of weird how like he's having this like moment of, I didn't do this, but somebody did, and they're just still not punished. I just really liked, that was a really like, yeah, that's right. Like all of these people getting wrongly convicted of things, you're just letting other people who actually did the crime get away with it continually. It's just maddening. I really, like I said, I really enjoyed this book. I gave it 5 stars. I really, really enjoyed it. I thought it was a really thought-provoking book, a really emotional and sad book. I really, really loved it, though. It was sad but tender and just real. It was a really real book. I had chosen this book for my book club with my family, so I'm really excited for our discussion on it. I think it's going to be great. So I'm just very, very excited for that, and see where our discussion will go. I'm very, very excited for that. If you guys have read American Marriage, please let me know in the comments below what your thoughts were, if you liked it, if you didn't like it. And thanks for watching. Please give this a thumbs up if you liked the video, and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys next time.